All right, guys. So I have to give you this story because it has to be said. So basically, this man recently inherited $29 million from his family. And so he decided to do a Ask Me Anything on reddit.com. Basically, what this means is anyone on Reddit who has an account can ask him a question and he will answer anything. So he got a flurry of questions, and one of the questions was, did people you never talked to or haven't talked to in many, many years come out of the blue and ask you for money? And he said a lot of people did, one in particular. And he said his ex-girlfriend, who had literally thrown his laptop down the stairs, kicked him out of his house, how it was such a mistake for them to break up, that they were meant for each other, so on and so on. And this sort of stuff just blows my mind. Like, it shocks me because this is the type of, there are people out there like this. That really sucks. I mean, you kind of have to guard against it. And I mean, arguably you can't be completely frustrated because, you know, I think it's part of our genetics to a certain extent, all of us, and it's rooted in evolutionary biology. Women are wired to be this way, not because they chose to, arguably they didn't, but because for thousands of years, this sort of attraction to a man with greater resources is of great, help. And unfortunately, we get all these gold diggers and all sorts of stuff like this. At the same time, though, I'm still frustrated because we do still have a certain level of free will. And to realize that there are people out there willing to bend themselves and like what they want so much, for money, um, that just blows my mind. Now, I do have faith because there's plenty of other stories I've come across, real life stories, where money is not the only thing necessary. And, you know, for some girls, no matter how much money you have, they don't care for a variety of reasons. Either they have their own money, they make their own money, and they have more money than they'll ever need, or another reason is just because, they have a certain level of self-worth, and a lot of other factors are important as well. Um, you know, this topic, I don't even know. I've thought about it a bit and probably have overthought it. And honestly, long story short, it frustrates me a bit, but I think at the end of the day, things will work itself out if you're just smart and you guard yourself and you have some level of, self-perception. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't. And you get people like this who, they will bend everything about themselves to be with a person because they think that this money will make them happy when science has shown that it really doesn't. Check out the book The How of Happiness, and I've done more videos talking about that. But more so than that, I think it's important for people who ever get that level of money to guard themselves. And nowadays, more and more people are becoming wealthier. Uh, I just heard a statistic, and it said that every 30 seconds, a new millionaire is made. And I'm sure that number has gotten even faster. And the book that I heard that from was called The 1 Minute Millionaire. Despite the cheesy title, it's fairly interesting. Anyhow, like this still blows my mind to this day. And, you know, I think if you're in that situation, you just want to, guard yourself. And most people, they do so naturally. Um, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this stuff happens all the time and it sucks. And people naturally, for the most part, they know what to do. If someone they weren't ever friends with all of a sudden starts talking to them, or all of a sudden everyone starts asking them for money, I think it's important to know who your true friends are. And I think this is why, personal finance and money management and all that stuff is so important. If they hear that you get money, they will be like, "Oh, can I have some? Can I have some?" Or they don't understand personal finance. So every dollar they make, it flows through their fingers because they can't control their spending. For these types of people, because they were never educated in financial literacy, and even if you try and teach them, they're not interested. No matter what you do with them, they will spend every single cent that they earn. And even if they make millions of dollars, the same thing will happen. In fact, they will sometimes even spend more than they've earned. And so at the end of the day, they're always broke and a slave to earning more. And ultimately, it's not a very safe long-term strategy. And I've heard stories about millionaires like Kam Mirza, who he had 9 failed business ventures, but he persevered, and on his 10th one he made millions of dollars. But because he never understood financial literacy, he spent the next few years spending more than he made, and was completely strapped for cash and constantly like stressed out. And it's such a simple concept, but people don't understand this. And um, you know it, it's another thing that you have to deal with when people are coming at you. So long story short, I just read this thing on Reddit and I'm just like, that is so frustrating. Anyhow, that's all I gotta say. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.